You see somebody working unsafe, your heart speeds up, right? Your blood pressure rises. You know you need to say something, but what do? Do you ignore it, or do you yell at them in front of everybody? Do you say you know better than this? What are you doing? How do you handle a situation when you catch somebody doing an unsafe action? In this episode, I'm going to walk you through how the best managers avoid conflict without punishment, without losing control, and without losing respect. I'm going to show you the best way to correct an unsafe behavior so that the employee walks away and they don't do it again. Let's dive in. Well, hey, friend, my name is David Sawyer. I'm a safety coach. I help busy safety managers prevent accidents and avoid OSHA. And I also help them go from feeling overwhelmed to OSHA ready. In this episode, I want to unpack how to correct an unsafe employee. What's the best way to stop somebody from doing something that could hurt themselves or somebody else? You see, most of the time, managers don't struggle with knowing what to say. They struggle with knowing how to say it. So I want to explain exactly what you need to do in a 3-part framework that you'll remember and you can actually put into action in your plant. Hopefully not today, but when you need it. Now, before I do that, I want to tell you about my OSHA audit checklist. You see, a lot of new safety managers, they don't know what they don't know. Heck, some experienced safety managers still don't know what they don't know. You know what? Come to think of it, I don't know what I don't know. But one thing I do know is that an OSHA audit checklist is a great way to know what you need to know to prepare your team for an unexpected OSHA audit. You see, when it comes to an OSHA audit, it can happen, and it can happen to you. And if you feel like you would be unprepared, then you owe it to yourself to download a free OSHA audit checklist. Go to my website, helpwithosha.com, and you can access a free checklist. And this isn't just a PDF. This is actually a video where I walk you through and show you how to prepare your company for an unexpected OSHA visit. So you'll understand the framework that OSHA uses during an inspection. You'll understand the opening conference. You'll understand how to prepare your team and the gatekeeper at your company so that you get the right people in the room for the inspection. We're going to do everything we can in this short checklist to prepare you for an OSHA audit. So go to my website, helpwithosha.com, and access a free checklist. It'll be worth your time. Now, let's dive in to what to do when you have to correct somebody doing something unsafe. Now, I can actually draw on my own experience for this. I want to tell you a story of something that happened to me when I was a teenager. You see, when I was a teenager, I was working at a marina, and I was working on loading boats and moving boats and driving boats. For those of you who don't know, I got my captain's license at a young age. I was about 18 years old. But before I even had my captain's license, I was driving boats. I was working on the rental boats where I would move boats around and fuel boats up. And I loved working at the marina. Well, in August, hurricane month, we had a hurricane that was approaching. And marinas get chaotic, especially when there's a hurricane coming, because everybody is rushing to get their boat out of the water or take it up in and secure it somewhere so it's going to ride out the storm on the water. Well, I remember we were helping people get their boats out of the water, and I was very hands-on. I was probably 14. I don't think I was even 15 years old yet. And I was working at the marina, and what happened is we had boats that were loading up on the trailers. And so when a boat's loading up on the trailer, you'd have somebody driving the boat into the trailer. And then oftentimes it's a 2-person job because you need to guide them onto the trailer. And then you clip the winch, You tighten it up, and the truck drives the boat up out of the water. Well, when it's one boat, it's not a big deal. But when you got lots of boats lined up, you're trying to make that process move as efficiently as possible. So me, being a 14-year-old kid, I knew what needed to happen. And I was completely fearless because, when you're 14, you're not going to get hurt. Nothing bad's going to happen. So I was helping boats guide in to the trailer. And I was down in the water, like up to my knees, helping boats come in and getting boats. And I remember I saw somebody I respected a lot. It was a fisherman that worked on a boat, and his name was John Kilgore. Everybody called him Kilgore. And I can remember Kilgore looked at me and he saw I was doing something unsafe. And he did the best thing he could have done because I thought the world of this guy. I respected him. He was older than me. He knew how to fish. I wanted to be where he was. Like I respected him. And he didn't yell at me in front of everybody. He didn't call me out in front of everybody. He simply said, "Hey, David, come here for a minute." And he waved me over to the side. And I didn't know what he was going to talk about. I was moving boats, loading boats. I was getting things done. You know what I mean? And he called me over and he said, "Hey, David, what you're doing, this is not safe." And I remember thinking, what are you talking about? And he goes, "Listen, I understand that when your dad is loading the boat, that you're in the water and you're helping guide him up, or maybe you're the one driving the boat and he's in the water guiding you up. But you both know how to operate boats. You know how to drive a boat. There's people here that are driving the boats. They don't know what they're doing. Don't get in the water. Don't put yourself in between the trailer and the boat. Because if that guy hits the throttle the wrong way, you're going to get hurt bad." And I remember thinking, I hadn't even thought of that. Like that thought didn't even cross my mind. And I thanked him. And I remember he told me, he goes, "Don't put your body in between the boat and the trailer." And I just remember thinking, I won't do that. Now, I walked away from that conversation. I wasn't mad at him. I wasn't mad at myself. I simply knew what I needed to do from now on for the rest of the day. We were still going to load boats. I was still going to help people, but I wasn't going to put my body in between the boat and the trailer because I didn't want to get hit. That made a lasting impression on me, right? I'm in my 40s now. That was 30 some years ago, and it still sticks in my brain. The fact that he was respectful to me makes me respect that guy so much more. So that's the way you should handle an unsafe behavior. The person that's doing something unsafe, they might not even know that they're doing something unsafe. Yelling and screaming and reprimanding, that's not going to make it better. That's going to make it worse. So I have a 3-step framework that I want to walk you through. And it's not rocket science. In that story, John Kilgore did exactly what we're talking about doing. So the very first thing you need to do, if you see somebody doing something unsafe, I want you to pull them aside. You're going to pull them aside. You're going to approach them calmly, and you're going to say, "Hey, can you pause for a second? I need to ask you something." And then ask something about what they're doing to clarify the situation. So help me understand, what are you working on here? Simply asking questions like that, it doesn't create, like, no one bows up at that question. Help me understand what's going on here. Especially if you're a manager talking to a crew leader or an employee, because they're gonna tell you, "Hey, you know what? I'm loading boats, right? I'm getting stuff done." So if you have somebody doing something unsafe, just as an example around a forklift, right? Say they're standing on a stack of pallets and they shouldn't be standing on the pallets because it's dangerous and they could get hit when the forklift comes in. Well, you're gonna wave them over. You're gonna pull them aside and you're gonna say, "Let me understand. What are you doing here? Help me understand what's going on." And then when they tell you, "Well, I'm trying to help the forklift load the pallets," in a very clear, way, you need to explain how they should do it so they don't get hurt. Now, this is where you need to be clear. We're not talking about being fuzzy or gray. When John Kilgore was telling me, he said very clearly, do not stand between the trailer and the boat or you're going to get smashed. If somebody's standing on a stack of pallets and they're trying to help the forklift get guided into the pallets, listen, I don't want you standing on the pallets. Never stand on the pallets. Stand off to the side and guide them in as a spotter. You do not need to be in between the pallet and the forklift. You're going to get hurt. We don't do things like that. I need you to always stand off to the side. Do you understand? Again, we're coming at it from we care about them as a person. We care about them as a person. So we're going to clarify the standard. We're going to clarify how we fix the problem. And we're going to explain how they should be doing it. What we're not going to say is, hey, be careful. Be careful. That doesn't help. That doesn't help. We gotta clearly state the expectation. You're not going to stand on the pallets. You're going to stand off to the side, and you're going to guide the forklift operator in. Now, the third piece of the puzzle is the whole time we're doing it because we care about them. We're doing it because we care about them. We're going to make sure that they know that their safety comes first before whatever project they're doing. Listen, I know you want to load the boats in, David, but you're going to get hurt. And you haven't even thought about that. These boats are going to get loaded. Don't worry. The job is going to get done, but we want to do it so you don't get hurt. The person standing on the stack of pallets guiding the forklift over, listen, we want to get the pallets done too. We're on the same team here, man, but I don't want to see you get hurt. And I, unfortunately, as a safety guy, I've seen a lot of accidents. I've done a lot of accident investigations, and I don't want to do any more, especially when I see it and I can prevent it. So what's the safest way for you to do this going forward? How do we correct this? You might learn something that can help you improve it going forward. This is a perfect example when you can spot a problem and you can bring it to the safety committee and you can have a conversation about it. You can say, how do we make this better? But the whole time we're being positive. We're saying, hey, I appreciate the work you're doing, man. I'm grateful for the job you're doing. I just want to make sure you don't get hurt. I want you to go home safe at the end of the day. 10 fingers, 10 toes, same way you came in, maybe just a little bit more tired. So the 3-step process, just to follow this up, we are not going to call people out publicly and shame them publicly. That does not make anybody feel good. That causes you to lose respect with your team. When you are going to reprimand somebody, you do it in private. You pull them aside. You clearly state how we need to do this, fix the problem, and then we show them positively that we care about them, we want them to get the job done. So, as a recap, the first thing we're going to do, pull the person aside privately and have a quick conversation with them. We're going to clearly identify how to do it the right way so they understand the safety procedure. And then we're going to reinforce positive. I care about you because it's the truth. Yes, we want the job to get done. It can get done and you can stay healthy. They're not working against each other, man. They're working together. So I hope this has been beneficial. I've seen so many people, managers, employees, coworkers, when they see somebody doing something safe, they gotta turn the other way. I don't want you to turn the other way. I want you to speak up, but I don't want to do it in a combative way. I want to do it in a caring way. So when you have to reprimand somebody, do it in private. When you have to praise somebody, do it in public. Just remember that. If I'm going to reprimand somebody, I'm doing it in private. We're having a conversation about it, and I'm not going to make them feel like a terrible person. I'm going to make them feel like, hey, I care about you, and I want you to do the right thing. When I have to praise somebody, that's when you do it in public. If I'm giving somebody a safety incentive check, man, I want it to be in front of the whole company. If I'm giving somebody an attaboy, I want it to be in front of their spouse. I want it to be in front of their kids. I want them to know, hey, I care about you. You're doing the right thing. Being a safety manager is something that is all about communication. We want to have crystal clear communication with the people we're working with. So until we talk again, do everything you can to keep the people you work with safe, because no one should get hurt at work.